Greetings, everyone. Let me turn my music off. All right. Tommy Hawksblood here, calling from the big island of Hawaii, co-host Tina Bird. Greetings, everyone out there. Greetings, Tina. Say hello to everybody.
Hi guys, I'm Tina Bird, broadcasting here from Southampton in the UK, and it's great to see Tommy out there in Hawaii. We have a great show for you this evening. I'll put it back to Tommy because we've got lots to get into. Tommy.
All right. I'm on a computer 12 hours a day and night, and basically I watch every UFO special, talk, and listen to these people. After 25 years, I listen to these shows like Ancient Aliens and stuff. Nothing important is coming out. We hear the same stuff over and over. Sure, there's new people coming out and saying they saw a UFO and they work for the government and everything, but there's zero proof coming out. A lot of talk, and nothing's being said about what Putin said to Trump. I mean, which is really critical, especially when all the money that we're spending on a space program. Now, Musk's third rocket screwed up. So who knows where he's going to be able to go with his program now. But he's out of the government as of like this week. Millionaires. So that's what his new game is. I don't know how real or whatever. I wrote him a couple letters. I've been writing him 20 letters a day. But about going to Mars. I said, do you know anything about aliens? Do you know anything about the truth that the government did? So what I want to get into now, I'm going to go over some things, and I want Tina to go over some of her life, just so you know that we're not just wannabe UFO speakers, which most of those people out there are. I mean, they read a couple books, and now they know everything because they read somebody else's book. I wrote a couple letters to all the big famous people in the UFO world constantly. But, when we hear about Bigfoot, I relate that to a UFO program because it's partly an entity, creature. Nobody knows what it really is, except I know it didn't come here. It was brought here. All right. Linda Moulton Howe, I don't know if you know who she is, but she spent 40 years on cattle mutilation and still has zero proof of anything. I actually saw 3 created in front of me. I was living in Washington State, and I saw it happen 3 times. Not that I could stop it and do anything about it. But again, she goes, well, it could be, it might be, maybe this. And now she's one of the greatest storytellers, promoting a lot of stories that aren't real. The same as my ex-friend, who was never my friend, Stephen Greer, who's one of the worst speakers out there, going on and on to try to get Congress to do things this way. But he keeps saying, we're in trouble because we're doing UFO technology and we're going to destroy the world and aliens are good. And it goes on and on and on, people. If you listen to everything out there, you're not going to know any more than you do right now of what's going on in the UFO world. Now, Tina, I'm going to let her go into her story a little bit. I'm going to go into mine a little bit. It's real for her, and it's real for me. Sure, I've been called crazy half of my life, and I don't care. I mean, if you have an experience and it's yours, nobody can take it away. All right? Tina's experiences, her whole life was the same. Sure, trying to understand certain things that go on in it is a little bit complicated. And if she gets this hypnotist to work, we get that shown live, it'll be an incredible thing as well. So we're not trying to give up. And she wants to do a lie detector test, the whole thing while she's doing it and all that. So people, we're not here taking your money. Not that I haven't got any money. I mean, I pay to do the show. My books, my first 2 books I give out free, but I don't talk about UFOs in my books because, my 2 best friends, not best friends, good friends, both dead, put out the most important books in the UFO world. If you want to understand anything about the UFO world, read those 2 books and you'll know everything that went on and has been going on. All right. Now, Sean David Martin, a good friend of mine, died last Christmas. And basically, his book was Sands of Time. And it's based on everything that happened in the UFO world from the 1900s. Because he was working with a time traveler. I don't know if you want to believe half of it or not. But if you understand and read it, you're going to understand a lot of stuff that actually is and was going on in the UFO world. He discovered Area 51. He brought groups of people up there every month in a van. We go up to the top of the mountain and watch the mothership come in. He was the only person doing that. But when he got snagged, the government had to buy all that land, that whole mountain, so nobody else could get there. But he was doing it for a long time. He even went on a TV show, and basically he goes, "Oh, I'll come out and I'll go check it out." He never went out. Then the next month he says, "Oh, let's speak. I know the four-star general out at Area 51, and there's nothing going on there." So these people that put information out are putting disinformation out rather than the important information. So Tina is one of the few people I trust in the UFO world right now. I know she's friends with a lot of those people out there. I mean, even the people that say they had a UFO story, it doesn't change much of what they can prove and say. But there's no good aliens out there, no matter what you hear. And I'm working on that right now. Because in Hawaii, we got multiple UFOs, the same as Tina has UFOs over our house. But here in Hawaii, we have multiple ships all the time over us. Something's going on. All the homeless people that live by the ocean see their orbs going in and out of the ocean. All right. We just had a giant one come over us about 4 or 5 days ago. So we got stuff going on, and so is Tina. So, but nobody wants to report it. Then you got Lou Alzanda who can't talk. He put a book out. I'm not gonna. I didn't read it or nothing. But I know he was going into a lot more details than he ever did about speeds and stuff that a ship traveling that fast, no human could fit in it. Because Stephen Greer is going, well, it's Russians and it's Chinese and it's blah 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 blah. Well, we're almost at war with China right now, the United States. Canada pulled away completely from the United States. Trump did a number within the short time that he was president. So he's not going to talk about aliens because I know he doesn't believe in them directly. But when Putin told him to his face that they're working with aliens, the day after supposedly said he created the Space Force, which was already there. So people, we do this show to put truth that we know, we experience, and we know that it's real out. I'm not going to promote anybody else's story. The only person I promote is right there, on our screen with me. All right, Sean Martin's dead. I can still promote him because he was a good friend of mine. And Fred Bell, also killed the day after he did Jesse Ventura's show. He was selling things, devices, and but again, the government took him over at 14 years old. He was working for the government, working on the HARP system. So Tesla, nobody wants to talk about Tesla. I've been trying to talk to Musk about it. Who Tesla really was, what he was really doing. It wasn't in the TV show when you watch the story of Tesla. It's not in a lot of his notes, but I saw personal notes way back in about 25 years ago, and he said he was working with an alien race. Now, Einstein said he worked with an alien race in his dream state. Whether he really was or not, that's a different story. He probably was, but he put out a lot of lies. So the aliens were playing with him when they gave him all his knowledge, but he stole a lot of information from other countries. He wasn't a genius. He wasn't the brain of the universe and all that. We want to give credit to things that we truly don't understand. All right. There is a God. Nobody understands it. So nobody wants to say anything about it. Not one religious person talks about a real God. Why is that? I do. But on the other hand, aliens do not believe in God. Even the debate with the debate when they were torturing the Gray, trying to make them talk, when Evie was telling what there's no God, how the earth was created, blah blah blah. It's what they are programmed to believe and say. So there's a lot going on that you're not going to get the truth, not from anybody in the mainstream, because they need to make money. And as long as they keep people happy, people go to UFO conferences to have fun, not to become serious and understand what's really going down in the UFO world. But I'm going to give it back over to Tina. Now, you can talk about a few things, but I really want to try to get into some of the things that really happened to you in your life, and I'm going to do the same. All right, Tina?
I'm going to run through a bit of weekly news and some things that I'm going to be doing, and something I watched on a documentary. So, hi guys. We got lots on this week, so let's get into it. I'm going to put a pair of glasses on. Do excuse me. Right. So I've been watching. I'm a big fan of Ross Coulthard. He asks some really good questions, interviews some great people, and tries to piece together things with the audience and connects the dots on News Nation. Now this week, and I've also reported before, and I did lectures and talking before, that UFOs have crashed, and they've also crashed into objects, hit planes, and such. But it was actually released by the FBI, I believe. That was on News Nation. I watched it on the 2nd of June this year, and it was released 9 days before that. The FBI said that during a training mission, that a combat fighter jet worth over $40 million crashed into a UFO in 2023. Now, that was the FBI's words. That was a pilot's words. It was an unidentified flying object. So it actually crashed and it caused damage to another fighter jet mid-air collision. Now, if that is not, if that's not a breach of security, risk to human life, I don't know what isn't. Apparently, the UFO was so huge, it was orange and white flashing lights on it. Now, on another subject, I've seen quite a few of Professor Gary Nolan, Stanford University professor, brilliant chap. I follow and watch everything he does. I think he's very intelligent, had his own UFO account as well. He also said this week, I watched something on him, he said there's been thousands of preliminary reports. Now, preliminary reports is data. That's data provided by the public, which counts towards scientific data. So scientific reports do come from UFO reports from the public. Keep that in mind. But others say that it doesn't count. Now, he actually got into the field when the CIA asked him to do blood analysis on technicians and pilots and to test human pilots and maybe some tech. Whether it's alien, he didn't say. Now, when he tested these pilots, which I think I said before, to see if they were exposed from certain types of radiation from chasing or being close proximity to UFOs or UFAPs, for us and us people that aren't professors, we just go with UFO. Now, he said, yes, the study found bits and pieces, not a problem, but there is significant data that affected all or most of the ground crew's brain tissue. That is called white matter disease. So when they tested the ground crew that worked underneath these ships, so when they come in to land all these fighters, so they tested the pilots that got off the ship. They had a look at the ship underneath, but they also tested the ground crew on these ship, and it was significant damage, called scar tissue. So it's a white paper that scientists have been studying for a classified material. So he openly said that they have, China has now openly said that they have a UFO program and investigation for it, which is good. But they also proven as well, Professor Nolan, that Havana syndrome is a real thing. Energy weapons have been used on the brain, and this is clearly shown in Thomas Winterson from Skinwalker Ranch on his X-ray, because they can tell by the depth it damages the brain tissue. Now, if they can say just from being on the outside of one of these planes and you're inside a building, say, or another plane, it does affect you. But just for being underneath shielding in close proximity, not to UFOs, but to the plane that's been near one, you suffer more. So abductees are permanently damaged by UFOs. So that just goes to, correlate that. There are other things I will go into, but not on that now. So, yeah, but if you watch News Nation, and I think Ross Coulthard has interviewed Professor Gary Nolan on more than one occasion. So a few weeks ago, we said about the Nordic countries like Iceland, Finland, Sweden, Denmark, etc., and what the countries cope with UFO. Now, today I watched Ross Coulthard again, and with a gentleman called Martin Kleist. He was interviewed on News Nation, who's making a documentary in Greenland. For those who don't know, I'm just going to hold this up. I wrote some information on that. So this is Greenland. Over here, this spot here is where the UK is. So we are 1,000, about 1,200 miles from this part of Greenland. So you'll see Iceland just there, and just here at the top of the line, opposite this red mark, is Norway over here. Now, this gentleman's making this documentary. He says here, where this red dot is drawn, there was a huge UFO scene. It was so big, he captured it on FLIR, which is also shown on Ross Coulthard's show. And they were, I don't know, so many kilometers or miles away from this mountain. Now, just above this, where this is over here, miles and miles away is an airport. But here, there's nothing. There's nothing but snow mountains and what have you. This was seen coming up out of the mountain, absolutely huge, and you can see something else flying along the sky. So if you see that, Martin Kleist's information there. Now, he actually videoed that, took pictures. He's been doing a documentary in Greenland. And over here, you'll see this line. This line is actually the Arctic Circle. So you're actually in the Arctic region here. And this is Baffin Bay. Now, in Baffin Bay, in 1968, there was a B-52 bomber that crashed with 4 thermonuclear devices on board somewhere in the Baffin Sea over here. There you go. So one apparently was in the plane. It sank to the bottom under ice and was never seen again. However, since that time, UFOs, lots of them have been seen day and night in this area here. So there's nothing there. There's absolutely nothing there. So, yep, you go out there and there's no airports, no people, no villages, no forests. It's just like total ice cap. Nothing there. And these UFOs are seen day and night interacting with each other, flying about. Now, in this part here, where you'll see this bit right in the middle, that there is where they do mining. And in that part of the mining there is earth-rich deposits of minerals, uranium. And apparently it's supposed to be outlawed, but they might be bringing it back, which is why Mr. Trump may want to have Greenland. Now, it's also said on the same latitude over here is Norway, different parts of Norway, because you've got Svalbard up here. But this is Norway. On this latitude here is Norway. And they have the exact same mines that side. So UFOs in huge amounts have been seen in both of these on the same parallel. Now, whether that is that they are interacting to mine it, like some people say the Anunnaki, some people say that the time travelers come back mining our minerals. Now, this little thing up here used to be an Air Force base. It was then taken over, the name changed, and it is actually a spaceport. So it's North Space Bay Port. It's North Space Bay. And it's run by the USA, so the America has a spaceport there. But apparently, more interesting, it was revealed in this interview that the Patel Memorial Research Institute has a building, massive building out there on the ice cap. Not sure what they're studying. They're studying the stars or what have you. But apparently, in this space, they're monitoring everything that comes in and out there. Do they know about the UFOs, and is that why the spaceport is there? Is it there because of the UFOs, because of the minerals, or because they want to know what's coming in and out of our world? And this is the most highlighted part, apparently, of the Arctic in all the world, that most UFOs have been seen when there's nobody up there. Because there's nobody up there, people aren't looking up there. But since all these bases and everything have appeared up there, they've been documenting them. And in 1951, there was agreement with Greenland by Denmark. They had issues in 1995 to say that they could have nuclear arms planes based or stationed there. So they were no longer after 1995. Was it because of that, the UFOs, or was it because of the sunken nuclear device in the water? Was it because of the minerals? But and this is why Greenland is such a huge at the moment in the news. It's huge in the UFO world. Svalbard, by the way, up there right in the top corner, is where they keep all the plant seed banks from around the world. It is up there in Svalbard with the polar bears. So that's another thing really to look at. You can learn so much just by watching a show with professional people. Now, other things to come on to. Saturday the 13th of September 2025 in a place called Cotton Civic Hall near Hull, 1 Market Green in Hull, HU165FQ. I will be giving a lecture and talk myself. I'm on the head of the bill. And there's Ash Ellis, who will also be speaking that day. Spyros Marcellars is there. Graham Rendell and Steve Mira. It's £24 on the door. It's for the Outer Limits magazine, and the host will be Chris Evers. So you can go to www.Outer Limits magazine and have a look on there. And that's in Saturday, 13th of September 2025. Also, I'll be appearing on the Robert Brown Show on Friday the 13th, which is next Friday at 7 p.m. on the Robert Brown Show of Out of Nowhere at 7 o'clock. I will be on there. So, yes. What can I say? There's so about me. People have been asking questions, and Tommy said people want to hear about my case. Again, there's a couple of ways you can hear my case. You can get it for free if you want. So if you've got Kindle Unlimited, you can get it for free. You can get it on Kindle, or just buy the book. You can read it as many times as you want. If the electric goes out of the lights, you can still read it. There it is. It's called The Truth About Alien Abduction. Get it while it's still £10 because Amazon. So get it because the Amazon are going to make me put the books up. £3 a book. So thank you for that little flash, Tommy. So enough about blowing my trumpet and what have you. But so there's some interesting news. There is, but whether it's linked or not, I don't know. If you read my book, and in my, especially in my case study notes with David Hodrin in Birmingham UFO group, you can find that group on Facebook and look under case files. I'll be under Southampton. It tells you I was in a garden one day in this orb. So it wasn't one. It looked like had for a better word, I watched Star Trek, so this is how I'm relating it. It looked like it had some kind of cloaking device, or it was invisible, but it looked like invisible patches stitched together, so I could see it. And it was the size of a big medicine ball, not a football, big medicine ball. And it was just floating around in the garden, came towards me because it was floating about like a bee. It wasn't like the bee behaviour. And I just stopped to come out and I think it was to take the laundry out, getting laundry. I was by the laundry room outside, and this thing stopped what it was doing. I just sensed it wasn't angry, it was inquisitive. I'm not quite sure that I'd seen it. And it came down towards me, and I'd like put my hand up like that, caught my arm, and next thing I knew, I was out. Or whether I was out for a couple of seconds, a couple of minutes, half an hour, I don't know. I was out for the count, that's all I know. And then I didn't put anything together because there was a person staying with me. I can't mention anything about them at the moment. But they made a police report to say, I think it was that night or the next night, that they saw a man, I'm sure it was with a suit on, in the garden. I didn't believe him at the time because I didn't piece things together because it happens to you all the time. And I'm going to try and get hold of that police report if I can from that time, because the police actually did come out. They measured the window. They took fingerprints around the window in case they were trying to get up there. They took pictures of the garden and everything. So that was a way back. So I'm trying to get hold of that comparison and get their consent to get that report, which will be even strengthen my case even more. That will be absolutely brilliant. So even years later, there is evidence that you forget about or think about, or things happen. Like for my job at the time, I can't discuss it. But yeah. So if I get that person's permission, then yes. So that's more. There will be more evidence, hopefully. So yeah. Back to my case. Like I said, when you're younger, you don't understand or realize what's happening to you, depending on your age. And once it happens once, you don't ever think it's going to happen again. And you don't try and put it out of your mind, and life goes on. Especially if you're young, like I was. In a stage of for a couple of days, and it kind of leaves you sometimes, or sometimes it's like melted in your brain. It's stuck in your brain, and so. And then a few years go by, of course, weeks turn into months, months turn into years, and you don't expect anything like that to come back, and you put it down to different things. It's not till you get to a couple of decades later, like 4 or 5 decades later, that you can look back and reflect and realise, and you see so many things on the TV. You understand science better, what you're seeing, what you're hearing, and putting science into it instead of just like, oh, watch Wild Coyote on television and put a lot of things down to that. It's actually breaking it down, and in years of being mature, and other people in the world of ufology investigating it, like, can show you, and it helps you. So, but when it is repeatable, people say, oh, it's the same experience over and over. It's not. It's different each time. It's different ships. So what I mean by that, excuse me, I've got a bit of wind. Excuse me. So different ships. So it's like a different perfume or smell or sound. People say, well, how do you know you're on a different craft? They have a thing called a link. Well, I'm going to call it a link. I don't know if they call it a link, but I'm going to call it a link. That's how I understand and I see it. So I'm going to call it a link. And on each craft, it sounds or tastes different. So just supposing your Auntie Pat smell of cooked buns. You go onto one ship, it smells like cooked buns. You go onto another and it smells like perfume, but in your head. So that's how you can tell your Auntie Pat from your cousin or your friend. So you visually identify people, and that's the way you identify ships in your head, to me. So, and there's different links, and different links can link together, but differently. It's very hard to explain. So there are different links. There's one link with, say, sublinks. That's probably a better way of explaining, and they're all segregated. They're all compartmented. They're all different. They're all different little compartments. So that's another way of understanding. But it took a few times to realise. It wasn't until I was inside. I didn't think nothing of it before. I noticed the difference. But it's not until you're inside the link, inside their link, that you realise it's like a two-way mirror. You can hear everything and see everything that's going on, but they can hear you listening. That's the only way I can describe it. And information passes so quickly in there. You can look at different points in time, but the most interesting thing is if other humans ever get to see inside the link like I have, or learn how to use it, you can see anyone that's ever been taken, I presume, in that link, and it takes you to places, people, and incidents, and past errors in their life, like eons. I'm talking time. So that was that was very interesting and different and very scary. And I went, so that's that piece. I was trying to, because I get like different questions from Tommy, different questions that people ask me on time. Lots of my book readers just message me and email me like just different questions. So I'm trying to answer everything, when I can. So that's the difference I noticed about the ships. As to like things that are like beings on the ship, yes, I don't know, I presume the one kind of, I've seen the little ones, the one that knows me, and this thing that was called round, that thing, I thought was going to die when that thing, it came over me. I thought that was the end. I seriously thought I was going to die. That was it. I've seen that. I've seen the clones. I've seen the babies, the what people call hybrids. They were me, but they were them. So they were definitely a mixture. So yes, hybrids. You didn't realise at the time, but I realised what they'd done when I saw this, when they brought this baby over to me. And then, but again, with the link situation, now whether being human is a stronger shell, or we are more adapted to it than they are. And it's something that, namely, we could be the ones that's more advanced, but they're technologically advanced. We could be more biologically advanced. I don't know. But they definitely need our human biology. And they'd taken me, parts of me, and made this girl, and it was me, completely me on the outside. On the inside, it was her, and mentally it was her. And that was a bit of a shocker. But there was hundreds of other these pods that they had babies in, all the pipsqueak voices talking. They were only female, and they're all clones of me. So very hard to picture and put together. Very traumatic. Yeah. So there's that. Other people. That's something else. I'm trying to think of something else. How has it affected you? So, like, why didn't you tell anybody? Well, like I said, when you're younger and you're growing up, you think the last time is the one and only time, and you don't want to tell people. Did you imagine it's not you wake up and you've got scars, or you're in pain for days? And like me, you wake up, you're in agony, can't do anything. Go and have a photograph taken for a passport, an everyday thing. You see these huge black marks around your neck. And you know, a day before that, on 2 nights before that, you've been taken, and they've had you up on this thing by the neck, and then that's proof. That's photographic evidence. So, you know, but you suddenly understand, like, this deep tissue bruising, apparently, this doctor had said. So, yeah, and then evidence is a big thing. Like, when more people, like Tommy said, people want to come forward. Some people come forward and don't make a report simply because of everything that's happened in their lives. Times have changed, years have changed, evidence has changed. But the basic theme of this is that it's the same thing all along. It just depends how far along the board game you've been. So they've got, like, close encounters as first, second, fourth, and fifth kind. I might write a book saying close encounters are the sixth kind, because after 5, where do you go from that? I've been out. They've shown me where they've taken my babies, my clones, the other beings, the new race. Which brings up so many other questions. Who is responsible for them? So that's why I go on about security and things like that. I'm jumping from one thing to the next, but I'm running out of time very quickly. So which brings me on to security. So I will be talking about security at my lecture in September. But to touch on it briefly is a bit with the plane crash, blah, blah, blah. Who's responsible for that? They're in our airspace. They've hit an Air Force jet, a $40 or $60 million plane, on exercise and hit it. That's a danger to life, danger to the plane, danger to the people below, airspace. So many things that came in from our world, from another world, hit an object in our world. What's bacteria, things they've brought in, pollution, won't even go there. That's just the tip. But the other questions are about abductions and safety and security. So again, I know I rant about this, but you're talking about a race of beings or other humanoids, not of this earth, come into our airspace or our time, whichever you want to say, whichever's known. They impede our airspace uninvited. They are a risk to safety and flight now. They come into your home. What happens if you're in the middle of an earthquake, which seems to be happening a lot recently, and one of these things takes you? You know, anything could go wrong. People have died from being abducted. That's the serious medical side of it. You're traumatized all your life. And why put you back? That's the biggest question. Why put you back? These are the things that they should be looking at. And then you've got the other side of that coin, which I like to say is, what about the people that's been locked up innocently? There are so many questions that do need to be answered. We're way past disclosure. The governments have come out and said they keep a little tally now of how many they shoot down in different countries. We know they're real. The disclosures happen because the CIA said, the Congress, whoever, yeah, they're real. The Navy, US Navy come out and said, yeah, they're real. Well, we know they're real. But they said they're real now. So, and if they've got alien tech and they've got alien biological bits they're testing, and they're testing humans. So the security of that is they've radiated a pilot slightly, damaged his ship, so they can irradiate or whatever they've done to his aircraft jet, whatever They've brought a jet down as well as radiated a few. So from hitting a fighter jet and radiating it, they've damaged ground crew. The ground crew was not near the UFO; it was near this jet. But the impending effects is for that to affect so many of the ground crew and flight crew. How many UFOs were close to that ship? How many UFOs were close to the boat they were on? How many UFOs radiation have they absorbed into their brains because they wear helmets and shielding? So that's a bigger question no one's even looking at. So it still does affect humans. And 90% of all, was it 80 now? 80%, 90% of all victims that come forward of cases of abduction have had direct contact. What has that direct contact done for their biological, physical health as we stand today? So lots of questions are not answered. Tommy's going through so many health things. I'm going through so many health things. Are these side effects? I went to a abductees group meeting just with abductees on their own. David Hodgson organised that in Birmingham. And I went there and we had a little talk and a little sentence. It came up that a lot of abductees, nearly all of us, said that they thought telepathy was a side effect of being abducted, or where they'd used it on us, or you have the capability to talk to them, maybe not other human beings, or you may sense things, or you may be of an aptitude where your antennas tuned more sensitively than others to that. So you see more things. So it could be that. So they're looking at all types of things lately, but many professors have said that, scientific, is lead the data. Well, these reports are scientific data. We're leading the way as to evidence and data. They just need to collect it. But because they've had test samples and groups from the military and people that have been abducted, they can tell straight away by looking through your files. They can digitally scan your Tesco card or something else, trace it back to you, get your address, and check out your NHS website and all your test results, I should imagine. So they don't need to look any further. And, they can give you a scan, a blood test to see if you've even been taken. And there you go. So, and I have x-rays too, as well as internal scans to show that. So that's medical evidence as well as data, photographs, and now potential witness. So that's even better than one aircraft pilot, really, isn't it? But hey ho. So security, different sides of it, is a massive thing. But like Tommy and other abductees will say, there is no recourse for abductees. As I find, who's going to say to you, it's okay, it's never going to happen to you again? No one. Who's going to protect you? No one. If they can't protect aircraft pilots flying $40 million planes, how are they going to protect their civilian people? Is that going to be a larger panic issue? Is that something they should be addressing, or is that something they should address or have addressed? We don't know because they're not talking, but it's definitely going to become an issue very shortly. So there's lots of things that do affect abductees, not just the actual being taken. And if you're like me, multiple times you've been taken throughout your life. I mean, I don't see anything interesting and fascinating about me. The only thing I could think of is DNA. I'm O rhesus negative. So it could be the fact that it's a historical bloodline, your heritage or where you're from, anything like that runs in families. I've had some funny stories going back from my aunts and my grandparents and when they were alive. So you just don't know without the scientific data there. But it will all come out one day because they use our blood tests and create beings, what they call hybrids, across humans and this other species. And do we have a right to know? Yes, we do, because they're technically 70, 50%, at least 50% us, because these babies look like us. The skin was like us. She was very pink, same hair. She was biologically mine. She was identical. Now, if she's anything like me, I know she's them on the inside, but if you have human instincts and you're anything like me, and they're taking her to this place to start a new colony or new lives or, new species. What happens if she's born with intelligence? I think she is, and she thinks, this red game of Denrose, I want to go home to Earth. I want to go and see where I came from, or I want to see the people I came from, a bit like tracing your ancestry today. And she ups and gets on one of these spacecrafts or teleports herself or whatever you want to do, and causes havoc along the way, or they create a bomb on their planet, or they do something on that planet. And then they come here and they are more advanced race than us because they're going to be. Who is responsible for that? Who is going to be in control of them? And what happens if they don't like who we are? She's like, I don't like who you human beings are. Let's just wipe you out. Scum of the earth kind of thing, shouldn't really be here, blah, blah, blah. Who's taking responsibility for that? What about us and our heritage with these new breeds? What are they going to be called? And how does that affect us biologically, family-wise, and on the animal universe tree? So there are lots of things going on, lots of questions, scientific questions that should be asked and are not. And I can't understand why they're not. They're still harping on about proving it's a UFO. They know it's a UFO. They've already said it's real. They have craft. They have beings. They have DNA. They have samples. They said that because they've tested them. The CIA have given them to professors to test. So, a bit more transparency. So there's a lot more to being abducted than just being taken once. And I remember stuff about being hypnotized. Whatever they used on me just did not work. And I think they used more than one thing. I remember them trying to dissolve my memory and it didn't work. I do remember that. But there's things that stay with you all your life. And people say, oh, you're just a negative person. No, I'm just telling you how I felt and what's happened to me. So if you read my account, I'm telling you exactly what I saw, not what no one else saw, not what no one else said, what I saw and what happened to me. So, it's from my point of view, what happened to me, it's people that say or make false claims, and do need psychiatric help, but people that say they want to be abducted, why would you want to be taken as a child by strange beings, tortured, bits and pieces ripped out of you, and then have that repeatedly done to you? Why? But it affects, like Tommy said, he was protecting his brother. Nobody was protecting me. So there are lots of things in between about security and about there's a lot more to being an abductee than just that. Tommy. Tommy's got his sound
Sorry
off.
about that. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Sorry about that. My life turned into a UFO world at 6 years old. Not that I wanted it to, or I was even into it or anything even close to it. But, I was in the hospital with my brother. We were both having our tonsils taken out. And he was across the room from me, and I had another fellow in our room on the other side. All of a sudden, we were in cribs. They had the bars that pulled up and everything, so you couldn't fall out of it or get out of it. So my brother's standing up in the back of the crib, screaming, Tommy, Tommy, Tommy. I was always a rebel. I jumped out of the crib and running over there, and there's this big white ship, maybe 100 yards from the window, shining this beam in directly on my brother. And at 6 years old, I put my hands up like this, in front of the glass, in front of the window, blocking the light from hitting my brother, and the ship just shot straight back out into space. Don't ask me why or how I did it or why I even knew how to do it, but that started changing my whole life to seeing UFOs, seeing aliens, and everything else. By the time I was 12, I had a ship land next to my house, and the alien came in our house. I had my friend staying over my house for the first time. We both grabbed a baseball bat and a stick and went down and chased it out of the house. And we watched the ship fly away, take off. My mother didn't believe us, but she asked us separately, what happened? What'd you see? Blah, blah, blah. Well, I saw it in the house when we went down the stairs. It was kind of dark. But we had a stove in the middle of the kitchen, so the light was standing there as it walked right through the door. So at that time, I already knew we had some kind of powers that we don't have. or don't have anymore, however you want to look at it. But from then on, I was seeing ships over me all the time. I mean, following me. And I'm talking beautiful ships, like the ones with the colored lights going around it and things like that. I'm talking about 52 in the early 60s. So from then on, all the way up until I was about 19, then I started working with abductees, women abductees. All right. And they all lost their children. I wasn't a writer, I wasn't trying to make money, but I was already into hypnosis, doing psychic implant removals, past life regression, and all that. I started at 14. So I was working with these women, helping them try to understand what was going on. But one of the women I worked with, a year and a half later, she was pregnant, and they came and took her second child. All right, and she showed me the X-rays, whatever you want to call them, from the hospital. She said she went to the hospital the next day, and they said she was not pregnant. She couldn't have been pregnant, and all that, even though they took the X-rays the day before, sonograms, whatever they were called.
Yeah.
But, she was told she was visited by them, and they said she's never going to see her children again. She was allowed to see them one time. And that was just one case, but most of the women were never even allowed to see their children after they took them. So, but they wouldn't go public. I mean, they had a bad enough life dealing with that. And then trying to tell the world, no aliens took my baby. They're going to try to put her up for killing the baby or taking it away. But it was a horrible scenario. But I mean, like I said, I wasn't writing. I wasn't into any of that. I don't write about aliens. I don't. My books are spiritual, based on God and everything else. But here's the thing. I was plagued with it all through my life. I even came down with psychic abilities. I was a high priest dealing with energy and everything else. So I was working with so many different things at the same time. But by the time I was 40, I met a person who I did my UFO work with. We filmed UFOs from 1996 all the way down until 2002. We were public. We were lecturing with Global Sciences for a couple of years. Him and me had fights on and off, but near the end, we had a really big fight, and we were partners. At that point, he sold out to the government. All right. We had more pictures that we showed on Kerry Cassidy's show, even for 9 months. We put up 5 new pictures of UFOs, not tic tacs, not dots in space, not blurs, actual ships, what they looked like, what they were doing. We did a show called Strange Universe.
I did a lecture for Kerry Cassidy, yeah.
So on Strange Universe, they put us up, but they cut most of me out, believe it or not. But they did put one of the videos he put up of a ship coming across the sky, stops, and it shoots at these 3 ships and then shoots out. And they showed that on TV. I guess it was 1997 or 8, somewhere around there. But what happened within that week, Strange Universe was taken off the air. I don't know if you know the name, Phil Snyder, John Ford.
Yeah, I know Phil Snyder.
All that went down in that year.
I know his
Within
case
those
very well.
He was killed, and the other one was put in a nut house. But a lot of people were taken out during that year, and I don't know all the names, half of the people, but most of the people were in the UFO world or nuclear scientists. Basically, between the aliens and the government, you don't know who was taking who out. The same as Stephen Greer. I don't know if he's working for the aliens or he's working for the government or both. Who knows where he's at? But by that time, I had all our pictures in my friend's house. He copyrighted everything. Anybody out there know any kind of laws that allow you to take? If you took a picture, can somebody else copyright it? And I heard that they can, even if you didn't give them permission. I don't think it's legal to take a picture of somebody and copyright it, but I guess in some strange way it was, because we had hundreds and hundreds of pictures and videos.
If it's your picture and you're taking it, I think it's you're right. I think if it's your picture, it's your
And I was talking to somebody saying if somebody has a copyright, they own the picture. All right, and it takes 100 years.
Has he passed away, the gentleman?
No, he's not.
Has he passed away?
No. I'm not saying I wish, because 2 years ago he said I can have all the pictures because he thought he was dying. All right, and I was happy I did all the pictures, not that he was dying, but I was happy I did all the pictures. But we had this big fight over another UFO person, Sean David Martin, who was pretty much the main speaker in almost UFO conference in the United States. He discovered Area 51. He brought people up there to see the UFO mothership come over the Army base every month. But people don't talk about that. The UFO world blocked out all the important truth. His name, but we worked up where Tesla used to work. Up there, the biggest, most important UFO thing happened there. In brief, they flooded a city in New Jersey. For 9 months, UFOs went in and out of the reservoir where they flooded it. The Army was stationed around it the whole time. Nothing could be done because even when the lake was frozen, the ships just went in and out of it. But person I'm talking about, we went up there and had big signs on the fence. If you get caught on this property, you will be shot. It was government property. We went on there every other night for 4 or 5 hours, filming ships, filming creatures, filming all kinds of weird stuff. But in the interim, like I said, he copyrighted all that. And I have pictures on my site, and he made me take them down. He said, I'm going to have my lawyer sue you if you don't take them down. But then we made friends, and then we did Kerry Cassidy's show for 9 months.
I think if they're your intellectual property because you've taken that picture, I don't think he has a right, even if he's copying it.
He developed, he didn't develop, he just downloaded my pictures on his computer. And then he took all those pictures and sent them in and had them all copyrighted. I'm still trying to find out the truth of that. But I can't show them publicly. I can't put them up publicly. But he had everything we did online taken down everywhere, including this show. But I have a copy of the show, all right. And I'm trying to get it to Musk, but there's so many fake sites I can't get to the real Musk. So in the interim, I've been dealing with UFOs over my house now all the time as well. So, but I told the whole neighborhood. So I have like 6-8 people. One next door, one down the block, all looking at the sky. One's outside all night. And they're seeing things every night now. But it's cloudy 90% of the night, so I don't get to go out. But like Tina could go out at night, and there's a ship over her. What are they doing? But I'm going to tell you this. My viewpoint, now this is what I feel and think. Something big is going to happen soon.
Yeah.
Multiple things that are supposed to happen by 2030. UN Agenda -30. One World Order is supposed to happen, all right, and then I'm not even.
See, I believe the UFO activity is linked to all the volcanisms because what they showed me, we didn't come from this planet. They brought us here because of something they did on ours. It caused our planet to die or have an explosion. Now, we're having volcanism here. Is it something the UFOs are doing? Is it because they're mining under the ground? Is it because they're taking natural minerals from underneath the ground? Is that causing problems? Something is going to happen. All these volcanoes are going up. All these earthquakes are going up. It's tantamount to something. But I've got a feeling that something is coming. And you're just waiting for it to happen. But with that, my throat's starting to go now. So I'm going to say goodbye for this week. Please, guys, keep all your questions coming in. Watch Ross Coulthard because you get so much information. I didn't have a time for a few questions this week, so I'm going to have questions next week. So I'll write them all down because I haven't had a chance to reply to everyone on email yet or Messenger. A lot of people message me because I've got my Facebook and then I've got my TA Bird. So you can follow me on TA Bird, guys, on Facebook. There, and I'm taking it out this one, International Author, TA Bird. But from September the 13th at the Civic Hall in Cottingham, in Hull, I will be giving a lecture on top of the bill for the Outer Limits magazine, and Chris Evers is the host, and I'll be giving a lecture then. Also, next Friday, the 13th, we'll be on the Robert Brown show out of nowhere at 7 p.m. So keep your eyes peeled for that. I'm not sure if it's going to be on a podcast, TV, or out on YouTube, but you should be able to see it by then. My book. So Amazon have said to me, I need to put my book up. It's not expensive enough because they're putting all the prices and percentages up. So I get less than 50% or 50% now. So it has to go up by £3 apparently. But you can buy this book now for £10. So if you could go to Amazon, get it on book deal, get it now. And it's £10, less than a packet of cigarettes. There's the IBSN number. You can get it there on Amazon. You can get it on Amazon Kindle, and you can get it for free on Amazon Kindle Unlimited. So get it for free, get it on the Kindle, or get the book, and you can take it with you anywhere. Ask questions you ever see me about, get it signed. I've signed a few recently, actually. Somebody recognised me not 2 days ago in one of my local supermarkets, which was quite amazing, really. Yeah, guys, if you do have any questions for me and Tommy, Tommy has put his email up there. So his email is up on the screen. It's hawksblood1@aol.com. Please email Tommy. You can message him, private message me like you've been doing for Tina Barrett on Facebook, or TA Barrett, International Warfare. You can continue messaging me on there. I am a bit inundated at the moment, guys, but I will get back to you, and I'll sift through the questions I can ask, and I'll message them straight back. But anything else, I'll come onto the show and ask Tommy. But for me, I've been Tina Bird here in Southampton in the UK, and my delightful co-host Tommy, which I look forward to each week, is in Hawaii. So from the UK to Hawaii, it's goodbye from me, and I shall see you all next week. Goodbye, Tommy. Have a great evening.
Bye, Tina. Stay healthy. All right, Tina Bird, great person. We didn't do it in the past couple of weeks, but she bought a couple radio Geiger counters to check her radiation, and she is radioactive. She has all the symptoms of radiation poisoning. She's still alive. Don't ask me how. I keep telling her the aliens are keeping her alive, and that's why they monitor her all the time. But next week we'll make her bring out the Geiger counter and show that she is radioactive. It's different parts of the body. Radiation doesn't change, which changes on her constantly. Another impossibility. I asked a couple different scientists, and they won't get back to me or even try to deal with it. But for me personally, I'm 72. I'm a little older than her, and I don't watch what I do. I mean, I'm outside, and I tell the aliens that come down if you got any pair of balls, like most of these people don't. People in the UFO world talk and talk, but they don't come out with any proof or anything else. I'm telling you, we had pictures of everything, every kind of ship and entity, creature. In 1997, the person I was with and I went public in New York City, exposing orbs greatly. We went around the United States lecturing and also talking and showing people how to take pictures of orbs at night. And they're real. They're not fuzzing a camera and all the things people try to say they are. But they're not one thing. It could be a ship. It could be an entity. All right. And it could be any size. I got one that's maybe 5 feet wide. I got one that's this big. And I put pictures on my show a couple of times of a ship that I shot that was about this big. We're in the middle of a place where we did all our UFO work, where Tesla worked. And we saw multiple things. But you know what's funny? And I'm going to tell you this straight out, people. I've been filming UFOs for a long time. And here's what happens. If a race, whatever race is driving a ship, and it's not a Chinese guy, Japanese guy, or nothing like that, but if they don't want you to take a picture of them, you don't get to. All right. If they know you're not filming them, they're a lot more active in your eyesight. And then again, some let you take pictures of them. If they're not doing anything, they say, well, big deal. He's going to take a picture of my ship going across the sky. So what? But whatever they decide is their decision, not ours. We don't freaking take a picture because we want to. They let us. All right. They are not super spiritual at any level, but they do have a couple psychic abilities. Clairvoyance and audio and stuff like that. They can hear us and sense us and know what we're saying and thinking up in their ship. So they have a lot better abilities than we do in this physical body right now. So what I'm trying to get out about this is the most incredible things I saw and my friend when we were together, what we saw when we were with his girlfriend, we were all together, and what we saw, we never filmed it. They know you don't have your camera out, and they'll say, smile, you're on camera. Lots of things, incredible things happened to us when we were up there. I'm not going to go into all of it. But Jersey is one of the most important places. I don't know if you know anything about a vortex. The most dangerous one was where Tesla created it. All right. And Tesla did create it, not personally, by the Philadelphia experiment. All right. The vortex opened in New Jersey. So people talk about, well, I got a vortex and this, that, but it's not doing anything. This vortex, the government still can't close it. I was involved with the people doing time travel, which was one person. All right, he's dead too now. So he told me when he's going to die because he said they can't kill him in a time frame because the Philadelphia experiment was in a time frame of 20 years cycle back and forth, this, that, and everything. But when I was dealing with him, my friend and I were with him, and he said to us, he goes, they offered him $4 million, and this is 23 years, I don't know how many years, 24, somewhere around there, years ago, and he said they offered him $4 million to go back in time to kill somebody. Because when they went back, there was lots of people on the ship. Only he came back. All right. And when he came back, they wanted him to go back to rearrange history but they destroyed. So at that point is when the vortex opened. And now entities, creatures, and you name it are coming through that vortex and nobody can close it. And healers, medicine people can't close it. And it should have been closed. It never should have been opened. But that's only one serious vortex on this planet that is probably the worst one on the planet. But not dealing with that. Let's go into what you're doing in your life. Do you want to see a UFO? I can send you a manual how to see a UFO. It's real easy. It's not complicated if you really want to see a UFO. Then you got to ask yourself, why are you involved in the UFO world? Do you just care? You just find it interesting? I mean, these so-called walk-ins, wannabe aliens, and all those words are just that, people. All right. Aliens are reincarnating into humans now. And very few people can even talk about that because these people talk about nothing. I'm trying to think. One lady claims that she can change, dematerialize things, and a lot of different things. She said she could levitate a piece of paper. I think it's Richard Dawn's wife. But again, people, doesn't matter. Nobody's proven anything important, not even scientists. They can't prove how we even got here, which I can tell you, why we're here, which they can't even tell you, and what really went down in history, how long ago, and all those kind of things. I'm aware of all my incarnations. My first incarnation into the lower realm was an alien. Then I came into an alien. In my next life, I was a human, all right, on the physical world. But I had 3 important reincarnations in my whole life, and it had nothing to do with aliens. But here's the thing, people. You need to become aware of who and what you are, why you're here. Otherwise, life's useless. I've been trying to talk to Musk, telling him his life is a disaster. He's never going to get to heaven. Neither is any multi-billionaire. And there's reasons, but I'm not going to go into that. But people, if you want the truth, that's the only thing I can deal with. I can't lie to you, and I have Tina on because she's the only one I totally trust. I haven't met another person in the UFO world that's alive. 16 of my friends in the UFO world were taken out. One of them was put in jail, let go, and he died. They had to let him go, but he was dying. All right, one of them is still in jail. All right, most of them were killed. One's in the nut house, John Ford in Long Island. I saw his video. He shot the best video of a ship crash on Long Island. And the government wouldn't let that out. And MJ12 is real, people. I know I told Musk, why don't you get a friend in MJ12? You'll know what's really going on. But again, they're top secret. I think it's 32 now, not 12. But again, I knew one person in it. I got a lot of inside information from them. Not stories, not twisted this, that, and the other thing. Because they stopped all the information in the United States from going out since Truman and Eisenhower died. All right. Now, Laura Eisenhower, the granddaughter of Eisenhower, I don't know how much. I did a show with her. We had 120,000 people watching our show. But she's in a space land that I can't agree with. She's into love and light, which I'm not into. She said she went to Mars with the president. I mean, she claims a lot of things. All right. Now, one other person I was trying to deal with, Nick, I don't know saying it right. She claims she came from Mars. Not Mars, sorry, Venus. 7 so-called aliens came from Venus. One of them, you might know the name. He went to the White House and they kept him there for a while. So, and he had powers. Alnick, or whatever. She claims she took on a body at 6 years old, but she can't do anything. She almost died 2 years ago. She's still hanging in there. Even my ex-UFO partner was supposed to be dying. He's still hanging in, as far as I know. But these people that go out there and tell stories and make money off of it. I don't make money off of anything I even did work, and it's one thing. I'm talking when I did healing work, when I was lecturing and all that. I didn't get paid for any of that. All the books I put out, I'm not making money on them. I'm giving my first 2 books away for free. I'm trying to get my most important book. I've been so busy working on my teeth, trying to, for a year and a half. My eyes, I got to work on them too, and all these little things. And it's not moving rather fastly. So I wish I could do a lot more. If I had much money, it would all be gone. But I told him, and I tell any multi-millionaire, billionaire, what Jesus said 3 times in the Bible alone. He said it many times about being rich. All right, and it is critical. All right, heaven is not what people want it to be or think it is. And when they have a death experience, I had 5. And I could tell you, 95% of everybody I listened to that had a death experience has no clue what really happened. Whoa, I met an angel. I met God. I met my mother. People. And then again, they're not here. So, oh, you're here, but you got to go back. It's not up to them. They're not God. Your karma determines where you go. I mean, Buddha was right about karma more than anything else. But see, religion started in Hinduism, and they were working with deities. And deities are real, people. They're not aliens. Aliens and deities are this far apart. All right? They're not the same. So when the Egyptians and Mayans weren't working with deities, they were working with aliens. After Atlantis was destroyed, and I was there, all right, it became aliens, no longer deities. You don't see deities. You don't hear people walking around with deities, seeing them, and anything else anymore. Even in in Buddhism, they pray to deities and they talk about it, but they don't have proof or see them or anything like that. And they never. It's only my viewpoint. I live with a Buddhist. They don't really work with deities. I work with a deity. I worked with 3 different deities for years. And what happened was mind-boggling. So when people say, well, this deity or that deity, well, and then they even like a deity named Green Tara. They give it a 21 colors of Green Tara. She's one color. She's one being. All right. She's incredible and probably the most beautiful being I ever saw. Physical or non-physical. But again, they don't teach you how to go to the store, how to have children, how to make money, or any of those things, people. It's not about making friends on planet Earth. It's about becoming aware of what you are, a soul, and where it goes when it leaves, and where it can go if it leaves in the right frame of mind, or right awareness, which very few souls attain. Right now in the UFO world, people going, I'm an ascended being, and I'm this. They're all full of it. Not one of them has a true psychic ability, and if they do, it's such a small percentage. Sean David Martin was considered the highest psychic in the United States. He was rated at 86%. He prophesied 9/11, 1 year before it happened, in detail, all 3 events. All right. So he was considered, compared to all the other ones out there, they were rated like 37%. But he was in the UFO world, and he was always at all the conferences. He was the top host of all the panels and everything else. He was always on Coast to Coast every month, and he was bringing me on once a month as well. So people, I've been around the coolest people, but most of them are gone. Like I said, 16 of the people in the UFO world are gone. All right. But Stephen Greer goes on, and he even comes out and lies and said they offered him, I'm going to tell you what he said, offered him $3 billion, not million even, billions and dollars, $3 billion to walk away from the UFO world. They take people out for nothing. I I don't know if I should say a person, super famous, wrote a book. The book was #1 for a couple years. Killed 44 people for the government. All right. Person I did a show with for 12 years, C.J. Morris. Her husband worked for the government. He confessed on his dying bed what he did. He said he flew the first UFO for the president. But he also killed 139 people for the government. So to take out Stephen Greer wouldn't be spending $3 billion. They wouldn't spend $300. This is your job, take this person out. Like what happened to Trump and his whole scenario being shot. And he's trying to make it the most important event in history. Pull up the picture when he took Obama's picture out of the White House and put his picture up. Check it out. There's never been such a person with such a big ego. Remember, he had to keep his face on the TV, on the internet, everywhere, every single day of the election, before and after. And he's everywhere still today. Most people are putting his picture up as something else. But we're in trouble. Between that and aliens, all right, we're in serious trouble, but I'm going to give you one last thought. Putin said on Russian TV a message to Trump. And then when he met him, he told him the same thing. And it was about their alien races that Russia's working with. All right? They're not going to help us. Not help us in any good way. Tesla worked with an alien race. And I'm telling you straight out. And they gave him things, 200 inventions he copyrighted. 50 of them were deadly weapons, which he gave to the United States government, which are the most dangerous weapons on the planet, which are being used right now. And I'm telling you, right now in Hawaii, the council and powers that be, that the fire was set by a directed energy beam, which is real. The same thing happened in California. They had drones flying around in it. They got videos and pictures of dogs burnt up, all the hair on the body on the outside, completely burnt up on the inside. They got other pictures of people burnt up and melted to the steering wheel. And there's no trees around, nothing around it or any. So they're going to take it to the highest level right now. How far that goes, they might take out everybody. And it's a big thing that the government likes to do. When somebody gets in the way, why you don't know aliens are real is because of MJ-12, people. No other reason. I mean, people come out and tell their story. Phil Snyder, the second most important UFO story. Oh, well, he committed suicide, and that's the way they cut it down. When they say, like John Ford, who's in the nut house in Long Island, said he had uranium and he was going to kill people in the government by putting uranium in the toothpaste. This was on public TV in New Jersey and New York. People, like I said, what you hear is a lie. If you don't experience it, you're probably not going to learn the truth, especially about death, reincarnation, or any of that. Or God, angels, any of it. Now, dreaming and doing drugs change a lot of things and create a lot of things. But your mind only creates what it's capable of understanding. So when a person dies, has a near-death experience, their mind cannot travel to the other realms. So when they come back, well, the mind has to relate it to something, and usually it's their mother, their father, Jesus. All right? They can't relate to entities and beings and all that. And if you're there, you really don't want to come back because you're coming back into hell. This is hell. Dante's Inferno, when he talks about the levels of hell, you experience every level he said here in this physical reality. You know, I don't talk about spiritual things too much because Tina is like so against everything because she never had help her whole life. Government, religion, spiritual people, nothing ever helped her. I learned myself, my own. I was a high priest at 16. I didn't read books. I didn't know anything until it just came into me as an awareness. All right. I started doing hypnosis at 14. I did meet Kreskin twice when I was 12 and 13. And I learned hypnosis then. But by the time I was 14, I was hypnotizing the whole neighborhood. All my friends, they all had separate words, and I could do anything I want with anybody in the neighborhood. The way I worked it, I would only do things to people when there was everybody around us, like all my friends. I went to my cousin's house, Everybody was there, so I hypnotized like 10 people there, including the teacher and all that. So I was really cautious because I was going to go into X-rated hypnotism because they do that at all the colleges and stuff like that. But I learned right away by being a high priest, you do not play with psychic energy. Any one of them. There's 32 psychic abilities. Not 120, not 180, just 32. Jesus had them all. Mary Magdalene had them all. Nobody else on this planet did or does or can even say they do. All right, I mean, all the fakers, that's what they're called in India and stuff that claim to be healers and all that, are fakers. The one that pull body parts out and heal people, all that. It's all called fakers because they're not real. All right, mind can do a lot of things. It can keep you alive for a short period of time. I'm not going to go into that in detail because this isn't a religious show or a spiritual show or anything like that. About aliens, and they're not good. Now, people, just so you can get this clear in your brain, aliens never helped the human race in history. They destroyed, I would say, roughly 25 races that lived here. All right? Including the giants. There was multiple giant races here and everything else along the way. But they were all taken out. Why? There was no Egyptian families and Mayan families and Aztec families. Few souls survived. In Atlantis, when it went down, there were 9 races here. 9. 5 left, 4 stayed. Black, yellow, red, and white. Stayed. They had to. They didn't attain awareness. They couldn't leave. And then the aliens did reprogram humans. The Anunnaki were here, but the Greys, the reptilians, and the Mantis were here. So there was a lot going on. And we became evil to this day. Sorry, people. We're not love and light beings. Oh, I love the world. That's an unconditional love to the universe world. It's all bull. The world's deteriorating at every level. Living, breathing, the food, everything. Creating a disaster to happen. With the idea of the New World Order trying to take over by 2030, with Trump saying he's going to be president forever. I mean, all these little things that are going to screw and change everything. Now, in all these scientific worlds, they can't even talk about what really is causing the problem on planet Earth. And we are creating it. It's not natural. I'm not going to go through that. I'll lose my show. I'll probably lose it anyway. But I don't care. I'm doing it the best I can and putting out much information as I can, as long as I can. All right, why don't I write about it? Because spiritual is much more important than aliens. Aliens can't go past this realm. That means they reincarnate back into their realm or this realm. I mean, being an alien or being human. And most of them can't even be human. They do not have compassion. They do not have feelings and emotions. We dwell in this reality on 5 senses of the brain. All right? And that's what we do, how we create everything we think, feel, and want to know. Out of those. When soul leaves the body, it's not connected to those. It has a greater awareness. If you listen to my spiritual shows, I tell you how to get more in touch with that, because it's much more important listening to that than ego. And ego is always there. I mean, you need a piece of ego to keep moving, but you don't need the ego to control everything you do, like all multi-billionaires do. All right. So, people, if you have questions, Hawksblood1AOL.com, how to see God, AOL.com. Email me. I will get back to you as fast as I can. I've been getting hundreds and hundreds of emails, but it's all about the Republicans and Democrats. You know, I was for one, I was for the other, and I disagree with most of it. The one thing, people, everybody hates Biden and tries to make Biden look bad. He did things nobody else ever did. His last week in office, he put a video up of what the United States white people did to the Native people, what the government did to the Native people. Listen to it. It's online. All right? He's the only one that spoke for the Native people. He funded them. He gave them money. He worked with them, tried to. And then when Trump came in, Trump said, well, no, all Native people love him, which is a lie. But then When the pipeline was going on, he didn't do a thing about stopping it because the native people were trying to fight it. And they were torturing those native people. And there was 2,000 native people there, people, not 10, 50, or 100. All right. But then after that was over, Trump was trying to pass a bill. I don't even know if it went through. That if anybody tries to stop a pipeline, they'll get 25 years in jail. That's Trump's solution. Because now he wants to get all the oil from the ground, from all the reservations. And they know it's loaded with many things, but oil is number one. I don't know if you know much about fracking and geothermal. I don't think Trump even knows what they mean, all right, and how they actually work and what they do. So, yeah, we're destroying the planet inside and out. And one last thought on that. Mr. Putin said, guess what? We're destroying the United States from the inside. Take it for whatever you think it means. But he said it. And why would he say it? Why would he say that he wanted Mr. Trump to tell the world what happened at 9/11? For real. So we'll see if that ever happens. I doubt it. The same as Epstein, that whole story. Suicide. Whenever you hear suicide, you better think. And I'm going to tell the world straight out. I tried to commit suicide. I just feel this world was hell and I wanted to get out of it. But again, it is hell. And it always will be. Until there's a major change in everything, which isn't going to happen anytime soon, can it change? And what I mean by that, there can only be one God. And it has to be recognized as what it is, not what it isn't. And I do workshops on that alone, people. You want the truth, it's out there, it can be found, but you can't settle for the lies that you hear that sound good. You know what I'm saying? If it sounds too good, it's probably not true. That's a fact. Trump is making lots of money. Musk wants to make everybody millionaires. Watch his videos. Watch what he's saying. You only have to invest $500 and you can be super rich for the rest of your life and have everything you want. That's ego, that's power, and it has nothing to do with God, has nothing to do with death. And everybody should be worried about death because you're going to die. No matter how many pills you take, no matter what you do, you're going to die. Whether you want to or not, you will. No matter how it's going to happen, it will happen. So Musk is going to be facing a horrible disaster when he dies. But he's got 3 wives, 14 children, and he doesn't want to pay one in the family. I mean, that's up in court. You know, people with money just want money. And that's why they live, people. People, spirit, and compassion. Remember that. Aliens don't have any of that. They don't need our money, and they don't need compassion. So why are they here? Think about it. I'm not going to go into it. But if you text me, email me, I'll get into it one day. I do it once in a while. Peter is totally aware of what they did to her in her life already, what they do to people. Do you know how many people go missing in a year in the state parks alone? Well, state parks don't have to list the number of people that disappear in their park. I mean, the car's right there. They're on a mountaintop. There's no other place for them to go, and they're gone. A child turns around and they're gone, and they can't find them. I mean, all these things. What's happening? The boogeyman's taking them, right? Whatever you program your child to believe. But with that being said, I hope you got something out of today. And like I said, if you want answers to questions, please email me. I'm going to tell you the truth as I know it. And I put my life on what I talk about. I don't lie to make money or tell stories. My book, The True Teachings of Jesus from God Realization, I'm rewriting it right now. I'm going to put it back out. It only came out 2 years ago. My newest book is for women only, Understanding a Man's Ego. I don't promote my books much, but it's for women to learn and try to understand what's going to happen if they try to have a relationship with a man. Men are evil. Men are evil. Am I evil? No. But I went through all the other things to get here. So, child abuse and all those kind of things, sexual abuse, all those words make a person different. Usually it destroys them. It takes a strong person to walk through it and come out ahead. All right, people? With that, peace, love, compassion, whatever you want in your life, find it. Love's real, but real love's hard to find. Till next time, people, thanks for coming in, people. Send this link to everybody you know. because it'll probably be taken down. I don't know how soon, but enjoy the day, enjoy the night, wherever you are. Hopefully, we can stop some of the things happening to keep people alive for a while. But I don't think we're going to be around too much longer. Not all of us. The world reached a high number, way too high. But till next time, aliens don't care about the numbers either. So yeah, they're not going to save us, but they need us for a lot of reasons. Peace. Tommy Hawksblood here, and Tina Bird. Thank you.